M1A1 Xander. Thank you very much to Meowcat for commenting on a previous video showing off this interesting new build. This is the M1A1 Xander, as the user has said it, and the reason why this user has made this build is because it's easy to build people for damage, but they wanted to take the full advantage out of Xander's unique character build, or his stat spread. And one of the things about Xander that you'll notice quite instantly is the fact that he has one of the highest luck stats for any sword user in the entire game, and that could be used to great effect. Once you give him Celica's plus 20 luck, you're going to give him a whopping 133, and there are plenty of cool things you can do with it. So, one of the things about this particular build, as you will see shortly, is the fact that it's very self-sufficient. It actually doesn't need very much in the way of support. Obviously, you would pair them up with someone so you can get some damage bonuses from them, but by and large, though, he can function fairly well on his own, particularly at the lower to mid difficulties. So I'm going to quickly look at Xander right now. So the skill build, as Meowcat was so kind to provide with me, is Soul, Armored Blow, Luck plus 20, Luna, Aegis, and Pavis. Now, obviously, luck is a huge factor here, and every skill that he has scales with luck to some capacity, except for Armored Blow. So obviously, Soul heals you whenever you kill an enemy, and obviously the chance of getting that scales with luck. Luna gives additional damage based on his luck stat as well, whereas Aegis and Pavis patch up any low defenses that he might encounter. Actually, this particular build that we're running right now for Xander, I did not invest very much in defensive crests. They're all tier 3 at the max. They're actually not very much, but even if you were to fully invest in his defensive crest, he will be taking almost no damage, as you will see quite shortly. So I'm going to go ahead and pair him up with Lissa, because Lissa is a powerful magic user, and he deals mostly physical damage. Now, one of the things that Meowcat has actually told me is that this can function quite well as an AI build. What that means is that you can station him pretty much anywhere and he'll be fine on his own. The AI of your friendly units isn't that great, but if you give them an objective, they can fulfill that fairly adequately. So in this case, this is a very, very safe build. You have high defenses, decent damage. There's nothing wrong with his damage. In fact, even though we don't have Astra, we can still do a pretty good amount thanks to Luna, and the fact you can also spam the strong attack. Now, his running strong attack, I did give him the strong 1 on his Siegfried. I recommend things like Slayer skills. I actually currently have Mount Slayer right now, but in terms of overall Slayers, I recommend Wing Slayer, since you can deal with spear-wielding Falcon Knights relatively easily. That being said, it's quite rare, but once you do, I feel like he should be the character you give it to. And yeah, give him the strong 1, give him combo, or the strong 6, because that's one of his most useful attacks. Alright, so here we go. So yeah, we're going to quickly build this up and go ahead for that warrior special. His skill stat is actually pretty decent at 92, I believe. So yeah, he can make quite good use of that. Also, with his partner, he gets the increase to luck even further. So Lissa is a pretty good, not just for the additional magic damage that she provides, but also for that. So here we go. Yeah, look at how many hits you can get with that Luna. It's quite good. Now, one of the other things, though, is that if you can put Xander in the allied base, you will never lose it because he can't die. Just make him protect the captain, and you are as good as you've basically won the game, because for most maps anyway, the requirement is that you don't lose the allied base. Put in a character like Xander, you don't even have to worry about it anymore. Pick any other character. So this is actually a very, since it's so safe, it lends itself to newer players that are a little intimidated by higher leveled maps, not even necessarily endgame maps, because obviously Ana maps tend to be a little bit restrictive in terms of who you can use from your roster. But when it comes to level 50 maps, even level 40 maps, if you're still relatively early in your game progression, you can use this Xander to great effect. And of course, the Luna patches up any issues that you have with his damage. You can give him Soul for almost infinite sustain, and because he's on a horse, he can actually quickly zoom through any of the fortresses that you have, and he'll heal it all right back. I'm gonna have no problem staying alive as his character. Another thing about his weapon, his Siegfried, is you can also give him Armor Strike. Armor Strike came with the DLC, for those of you guys that don't know. pretty sure most of you guys know at this point, but it's worth mentioning just because of how insanely useful it is. Once you use a critical hit, you will lower their defense and resistance stats by half. And the thing is, the way that it works is that Luna can also scale with it, meaning that once you get one crit, even if it's halfway through, you're going to make them mincemeat in no time at all. Okay, we can go ahead and do the Warrior special here. This should be a kill, and if not, then we're going to break the stun gauge. Basically done. That's the really funny thing. Like, this build, it has a huge emphasis on defense, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually quite interesting because whenever I think of Warriors games, I think like full-on offense, glass cannons, just bursting down everyone in sight really quickly, and that's what Xander can do, but this is a kind of like a safety net more than anything else. I like to consider this build Xander the safety net because like, you really can't lose unless you're not paying attention and not looking at your map, which is something you should be doing regardless. And yeah, it's very nice for people that are fans of Xander, or people that like the concept of being a mounted paladin. You know, if that's what you look for in a game, then this is definitely a nice incentive. There's plenty of interesting build ideas, and I look forward to seeing what future ones you guys have in mind. I noticed, too, there's a lot of different playstyles for this game. There's more than just the one, and it's nice to kind of take me out of my little comfort zone and try for a more defensive build. And I'm quite enjoying this one, too. Also, with a character that I don't use nearly as often, but I'm having quite a bit of fun with this one. So again, shoutouts to Meowcat for making this video possible. Alrighty, and we're going to go ahead and head to the next captain. Here we go. His combo 4 actually comes out a little bit slower than I expected it to. It's a lot easier to accidentally take out the combo 5, but that's just, that just comes with practice. Another interesting idea that, that I would like to suggest here and now that we're on the subject of Xander, is giving him or Ryoma a anti-triangle, since they're both sword users, meaning they will have like immediate synergy with each other. Alright, and this should be a dead. Really high damage with the Luna. I actually have gravely underestimated just what his damage was. For those of you guys that don't know, he was like second to last on my tier list. But again, remember, the context of that particular list was characters that have immediate payoff. For this particular Xander, there's quite a bit of investment, but this video that you're watching right now, it's mainly also for people that have already heavily invested into Xander, and you would like to kind of invest more skill crests and make the most of them. This certainly does that. He is like the kind of like the automatic win condition if you put him in the allied base. Works really great by himself as an AI, and if you're using him, again, takes the intimidation, kind of use him as a scout since he's on a map. You can quickly kind of gauge how well you can do this. One other thing too about Armor Strike that I would like to let people know is that if you were to catch other people in a yellow gauge, you have the animation, then anyone that's caught inside of that, particularly for captains, will get applied the Armor Strike, even if you didn't break their stun gauge at all. It's something extremely useful, and again, because Xander has absurdly high luck, he can make great use of that and do some serious damage against his opponents, really making the game easier in the long run. Okay, so yeah, we're actually almost done, I believe. How many more KOs do we need? We needed like 500 more. Well, that's okay. We're gonna ride the rest of this because I'm actually having a lot of fun. We don't even have to think about the HP bar with this character, because remember, the soul, and there's a lot of captains for us to take advantage of soul for. All right, here we go. Yeah. Other pairings that I would also like to consider is, really, the thing about sword users is that they synergize with basically anybody, since there's so many of them. They also synergize with spear users if you feel that you're up against a lot of other sword users, particularly for this map. The thing about Xander, too, is that he actually works really well with Awakening Gauge. Now, obviously, you can't just spam the strong attack and hope that you win, or that you can expose the gauge. You actually do have to get regular hits in. But once you do, though, he's quite strong. I'm gonna go ahead and dodge this. Probably try to armor break this one. There we go. Alright. Now, I already have a video. I'll put at the end of this video for those of you guys interested in my Xander guide, kind of showcasing all of his other capabilities. But it's more or less the same as this one, really. Plenty of things that we've already seen before. But yeah, Xander is very effective in the single target damage, and he can do fairly decently with AoE when you spam strong attack. Alright, so there's a Chrom here that we gotta deal with. Not a problem. Gonna go ahead and do that dual warrior special. This should be instant kill, because again, Xander's skill stat, while not the highest, he has high luck to kind of back it up with that Luna. Like, I feel like abilities like Luna, Soul, Pavis, anything that scales with luck was meant particularly for this guy. And that's why I believe meowcat made this build, is because that's the unique aspect about Xander, is that his stats were built to be very focused on skill crests. And that's what we're seeing right now. Like, every skill crest that we have has, like, it's in play right now. Like, Armored Blow, I didn't even mention that, but if you're fighting against an enemy and then they do an attack where they can do the stun gauge, you can just continue spamming your running strong attack, armor through that, and then break it with your infinite slashes. Alright. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just A-rank this, I believe, because we actually burned through this map much quicker. I noticed on the map right now there's a lot of clusters of enemies that we could potentially go through. If you would like, you can do that, but most of the time I would recommend just kind of guiding your units to get them. Actually, we might as well just get it right now. I'll wait for this door to open. Alright. Yeah, we're gonna quickly clear him out, because Xander the AoE's not that bad. I believe his combo 6 is pretty good. Let's try it. Oh, 1, 2... Oh, no, I know. It's right before he starts running. Okay. There we go. Nice. Yeah, his AoE's okay, then. That's okay, though. Like, it's pretty easy to pull off this combo. And again, I think his primary source of AoE is just running from point to point while spamming the strong attack. If it had a little bit more range and a little more damage, I think I would enjoy it a little bit more, because that's kind of the thing about Warriors games. They're not, you know, they have, like, no emphasis on balance whatsoever. There is also a captain over in this fortress that I would like to go after, so, you know what, before we call it quits for today, let's go fight against this Shadow. Alright, go. Perfect. So yeah, look at all that damage we're going to do from the armor strike. Alrighty. Perfect. Yeah, it didn't even need to worry about the didn't even worry about hitting them too many times either. Okay, 1922. So we're gonna quickly run through this room, and then that'll be the S rank. Far be it from me to play sloppily for my viewers. Gonna actually go hold ourselves to a standard, and we're gonna need like 59 more people. Okay, do you know what? I see they're not gonna spawn yet. Oh, do you know what? I have an idea. Okay, do you know what? We're gonna go straight into the fortress, and then we're gonna target Darius. And then we're just gonna spam, running around, ignoring him most of the time. Yes, this is riveting gameplay, I'm sure. Okay, 13 more. We're almost there, you guys. And spam. And okay, 2013. Good year. And go. And this should basically be the ball game. He's a little bit unwieldy with his movements, but that's the nice thing about Xander, though. He's always moving. A lot of mobility for this character. Alright, we're almost there. Yeah, this guy's quite beastly with Awakening Mode. That being said, every character's beastly with Awakening Mode. It's just that, again, that mobility really comes in handy. Also, his speed stat is quite high, as I recall, so he can actually stay in Awakening Mode for a relatively longer time than everyone else. So yeah, that basically does it for the builds. Again, thanks very, very much to meowcat for providing me with this build. Very interesting take on sort of like the safety net style of play. Again, it's not always about aggression. Sometimes you want to make sure that your objectives are completely covered, and that's what this build is for. And I'd recommend it for people that are intimidated by higher difficulties and need their own safety nets. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.